Access Live with Kevin Rankin.
Thank you for not laughing at that little campy intro. Thanks to Kimberly Amador for the wonderful voiceover there. Look, I'm a little green ghost, looks like, in the studio today. Hey, listen, if you guys are watching this on anything else other than YouTube, I would love it if you do me a favor. I'm going to put this link below if you could, while you're putting Venmo money in my pocket. Sorry, that was an accident. Let me send this link to you. All Access Live with Kevin Rankin. If you go to that link on YouTube and click the subscribe button and then the bell, you'll be notified about all of my upcoming guests. Plus, you'll go back through and you can find the archives of incredible guests like Tawny Katane and Kenny Aronoff and wonderful guests that are probably inspired by my next guest. Now, I also want to thank my sponsors at 5 Star Guitars. 5 Star is based in Beaverton, Oregon, which means that there's no sales tax. So if you're interested in playing guitar, you can go to 5starguitars.com/allaccesslive and use the promo code of allaccess15. You're going to save 15% off everything you see. And since there's Oregon, there's no sales tax. If you're outside the area, then you're going to save a ton of dough. If you want to save money and play drums, then you can go over to Rhythm Traders, rhythmtraders.com, and let them know I sent you. You're going to save 10% off just by being a fan of All Access Live. So go in and let them know that you appreciate them supporting the drummers of the area for 30 years. And they do a lot of stuff. They do repairs and lessons and clinics when we have them. So make sure that you support them, keep them in business. All independent business owners are important. So speaking of independent business owners, there's none better than to support our regional musicians. And I was focusing on January and February kind of being local heroes time. So there's somebody in particular that I really enjoyed getting to see in regional bands, and outside those bands, you'll find that this person is probably the most authentic, real, sincere person on the planet. So I corralled her, I cornered her, and made her come on my show so that we can just all fawn all over how wonderful she is. I've got Michele Lynn right here. Michele, how are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to make you bigger and I'm smaller. Here,
Oh
that's
my.
better.
That's a
Um,
big
Man, okay, hang on a second. I was going to ask you first of all.
Yeah.
There. Oh, look at Katie Lou Ellen is right here in the
I
chat.
know my
She's supporting you.
bird.
I knew that there are so many people in this area that are big fans of Michele Lynn. I love the fact that on this show, I'm blessed to have a handful of people that I've gotten to meet around the world that may not hear about Michele Lynn until you're doing your international tours, right? So the
Sure.
last time I got to see you,
Or like it to Vancouver.
yeah, I mean that's at least Vancouver, BC. Are you gigging up there?
No.
Okay,
Interstate. There you go.
we don't have to tell anybody you're not crossing you're crossing state lines. That's good enough, right?
Yeah. Sure.
That'll get you in trouble in some places, but but you don't cause any trouble. I know you're trouble free, right? So
I'm pretty boring when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I wanted to make up a story about you. I felt like this would be really good. I mean, I know you have
I
family.
actually enjoy that. I might just have a story to tell.
Okay, well, all right, folks, you may not know this, but prior to Michele's arrest, we had some footage. No, this is, hey, look, Katie, you're watching on Facebook. Do me a favor while we're talking. I want you to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Okay. All right. So now, all right. The last time I got to see you, Star is Born had just come out. The Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper version is out, blowing up, and off the deep end. That's the last time I got to see you sing. Blew my mind. You and Aaron Bartlett. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you and I did see each other after that. I think it was when I went to sit in with Aaron and somebody else down at Trails End Saloon, Oregon City. We can't tell people where we hang out though, because then paparazzi will start showing up and taking pictures of you. So
I just hate that. It wouldn't be bad for the venue though, so we could tell them all day long.
Oh, okay, folks.
I love our
Trails End.
I love our venues. I love those. They've just been working so hard to stay in business and
It's the truth.
everything, doing all the right stuff.
There's we unfortunately just lost the Gemini in Lake Oswego, and I know that you guys were well appreciated over there too, right? So
that was one of my favorite places to play.
I know Laura Dean, the Gemini, man, she supported all of us.
She's so beautiful.
the Garages is a new spot here in town, right? So you guys, you're booked there, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right,
Yeah,
folks.
we're working on it
If you got the well, I know.
for
Okay,
sure.
Mike Branch is the king of marketing and promotion. So if all we have to do is just say, hey, Mike, go get them, and
Get
they
on
get.
that.
He'll either intimidate them into giving bookings, or he'll charm them. I think the charmer is more his thing now. So
He's super charming, but I'm the project manager of our group. So he is, as long as it's on the list of things that he's supposed to be doing and I have a deadline fixed for him,
okay.
to go out and do it.
Oh, okay, this is good for people that don't know about how the band business works, right? So, especially for the most part, you guys, Rich, Aaron, Mike, Dave Kendall, everybody's got different commitments outside the band. It's not like you guys are just waiting around for gigs to happen, right? So whether you have day jobs or families or businesses to attend to, so yeah, you got to be organized. And I know that about you. I know you're the organized type for sure.
I am.
So
I'm
that's
a checklister.
so tell me about your project management list. Tell me about what Night Rose has in the list.
Sure. Well, so that's the thing, right? During COVID, we really didn't have much to do with respect to performing. There wasn't lots to do. So we went studio bound and we just went into write mode. And, when you're putting together what I think it was like 8 or 9 songs on that one CD, that all came out during COVID. That it started and ended during COVID. So,
Oh,
but to do that, it just there's an order of things that has to happen, and corralling people like like my band members. My band brothers are amazing. Can you imagine trying to corral David Kendall?
no, I mean I have seen it happen. I, y- y- you know, yeah. Sometimes one thing we should have said before we got started here. This is a really cool thing about Michelle's studio setup here. Um,
I don't know what
Once she starts speaking about like questionable things, the government starts to shut down her video display a little bit. It gets a little blurry, and so she's not taking her clothes off. That's not what's going on there. This
you're
is
clever. You're
that,
so
that,
no.
I,
Apparently
I'm just
nobody wants to do that.
I'm becoming a really good bullshitter on this episode. This is good.
I love
Uh,
it.
no, Dave Kendall. I mean, Sherry is the one that could actually corral that guy. Only his beautiful woman is his beautiful lady is the only person that can corral him.
We've
I
had
had him
some
on my
great
show.
nights. I know. I
I,
watched it last night. I
you,
watched Mike Branch a couple weeks ago, and then I watched his show last night. You have had a lot of really cool people on here.
I have. Okay, so who else have you gotten
What
to
the
see?
hell am I doing on here?
Well,
Like,
well,
you're the
that's
most
the thing.
boring person that ever let. Oh, I love it.
You think that, but okay, yeah. This
Sorry.
it's
I'll quit wheeling.
no, it's cool. You're bringing Wayne's World back. This well, we'll just pretend like everybody that's watching is under the influence of something, right? So like, wow, no, there's nothing wrong with her screen. It's just you guys getting
I don't know
fuzzy.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, you're right. I have had amazing guests, and I've really been fortunate in my gig, right, to get to meet like the '80s people, especially the musicians and people from MTV and um, that kind of stuff. But the thing is, and you know this,
Mhm.
every human on the planet has stuff that they go through, both positive and negative, and they've overcome adversity. They've had their wins, right? And so, even though those really cool in your eyes, maybe really cool people
Mhm.
seem spectacular, you're equally as spectacular. Just maybe you hadn't heard of Michelle Lynn before, you personally. So let's talk about Michelle Lynn. Let's get to the root. Let's figure out some of
Some of
the
the most.
adversity. Okay, so let's. I mean, you're cool to talk a little bit about your family.
Sure.
One of my
I love my
um, one thing that had been a challenge for me is being so open on social media that I was an open book, right? I wear my heart on my sleeve. Everybody feels like they know me because I put a lot on social media. And you and I both know that there's no way that people can know what kind of goes on behind closed doors. Um, and the struggles that you guys had, your daughter got sick,
Mhm.
and you were so wonderful about presenting positivity and working through that challenge with her without there was no pity, there was no victim type stuff, and while she was certainly deserving of it, my God, your daughter got cancer, right? So she was worthy of all sorts of real attention that way. But I love that you put it out there, like we're going to conquer this thing, we're going to do it the right way. How did you guys find out about her diagnosis?
Well, she has 3 children
Okay.
that are still living. She lost a baby in between number 2 and number 3, or excuse me, number 2 and number 3. So she lost baby number 3. When she had baby number 4, she just wasn't feeling right. There were some things that weren't right, and she kind of just chalked it up to, it's probably just me making 4 babies and my body just getting back into gear. And she ended up finding out that she had colon cancer, so she had
Okay.
a tumor. And this was, so baby number 4 is going to turn 4 here in March. So she's been dealing with this for 4 years now.
Wow.
Um, she's still going through it. She actually still has tons of cancer in her body. She's got colon cancer in her lungs, if you
Oh
can
my
imagine that. And so there's not a lot of standard of care for her. She is down in Arizona right now at a treatment center that has some alternative um, procedures, if you
Okay.
will,
Yeah.
treatment plans. So she's down there for 8 weeks, away from her babies, away from her family, away from her. She just opened a business. And
Oh
here's
my
why
God.
there's no pity parties in my family, because my kids are not victims. My kids are not, they are the most dynamic human beings I've ever met in my whole life. They were challenging when they were growing up, but they have just, wow, they blow my mind every day.
You say
Um,
challenging, but we call it spirited, right? Really, I mean that because if they've got that kind of energy, and down the road they're going to use all of that, the precocious energy, right, and turn it into something really good. So it sounds like
my
that's her
kids
DNA.
are leaders, man. They're just
Well,
leaders.
the DNA came from it's
It's not from me. Let me just
oh
tell you.
well, you and your husband both I know are real driven that way and very positive. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, um, I guess for people that don't know, yes, looking at this fantastic, beautiful woman, she is a grandmother, right? You heard that right. She's got grandbabies, and uh, it's remarkable when I've gotten to be in your presence. You talk about how much energy, like how driven and how like spirited, how electric, right? Your kids are. I think when and you said that it's not from you, but you walk into a room when I've seen you at these small venues and people are clamoring to get your attention. You've got a lot of friends, right? I mean, a lot of people really gravitate towards you. You've got an infectious smile, incredible voice, but your energy is so good. And I've talked about there have been a handful of people like that I've met in my life that are really inspiring. I mentioned yesterday, my guest was he'd played drums with Stevie Wonder, and he's like played with Liv Warfield and Prince. And seeing Stevie Wonder one time at the NAMM show, I saw his entourage walk by, but I couldn't see him because the guys around him were so big. But you could feel this crazy energy that was like an aura or something. And you've got that kind of vibe, that really that you were. I am grateful that you found the gift of voice to get on stage, because that is the right energy to bring when people are needing an escape and they come out to a show and they just want to unload the pressures of their day and go watch some live music. That's what they get, with you and your band. You picked a really good band of people to do that with too, because everybody smiles, everybody's got good energy, so
We are
uh,
all so happy to be there. I
yeah.
mean, we're just tickled. We're just tickled. We can't believe my half my guys are like, I can't believe we're still doing this. You
Well,
know,
they've a good handful of people are in those bands. Everybody in those bands has played in a ton of other projects, so they say they can't believe you're still doing it. I'm sure they've been in so many projects that they walked away from thinking, "I'm never doing this again," right? Because there are so many there are challenges in egos and personality. There are challenges in just like weathering the storm of the music biz.
yeah.
And you've not been in the music business that long, right? So how
No.
long have you been singing on stage?
So I have to say, and I'm estimating here. I was trying to think about this yesterday. I want to say it's 7 years was maybe the first time I went on stage.
Okay.
And I pretty much I was sitting down because I was so sick. I was so and sick from nerves.
Oh my gosh.
I was
Okay.
mortified. And I was standing behind Andrew Green because I was singing backups in the band that he was leading at the time.
My God, why
And
isn't he here
was,
right now to heckle you? This is
oh, I thought
great.
he would love it. He loves to
Yeah.
give me such a hard time.
But so you were singing backup. I forgot about the name of that band. It was a one-word name.
Remedy.
Remedy. That's right. Okay. And
Yeah.
oh, I did get to see part of one show at the Ice House, right in
Oh,
Oregon City.
yeah.
That's right. Because Andrew,
Was that the Fireball show?
I was newly sober then, or fairly,
Oh
I
boy.
was fairly newly sober. But for people that don't know, Ice House, little rock and roll bar in Oregon City. But Andrew Green's this crazy, wicked drummer, right? And a dear friend of mine, he works in my business as well. Is my IT guy for my biz. But
Mhm.
so let me tell you a story about Andrew Green. All right, when I went down to see him, and he was fronting that band. He so desperately wanted to be a front man. He wanted to be a lead singer. He was an amazing drummer. And when we first met, he had some social skills to work on. he 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 didn't mean to be an asshole, but he'd come up to me and say, "Why are you getting these gigs?" And I said, "What am I talking about?" And he said, "I mean, it's not like you're that great a drummer, right? So how are you getting?" And I said, "Okay, well, you're right. I think it's because I don't speak to people like that. I think it's you have to be the person you want to hang out with, right? And I talk in the show a lot about the hang and how important it is. You can have all the ability in the world, but if you don't have personality and the ability to interact with someone as if you're going to be on a tour bus with them for 24 hours a day.
Right.
And Andrew worked on that a lot. But at that time when he joined Remedy, he's like, I like, well, how do I get gigs like these? You're playing the Greek Theater in LA, right? And I said, well, I mean, how many bands are you in right now? And he said, 9. And I
Mhm.
said, how many bands do you want to be in? He goes, all of them. And I said, oh, that's
Well,
not possible. But all right, cool. So over time, Andrew worked on putting his interest and his energy where he really felt there was some value in it for him, right? It wasn't just the attention that you can get on stage, because I'm guilty of loving that, man. I eat it up. But also, you want to be able
see,
to
now
give
I'd
back.
rather be off stage like the Wizard of Oz. I would
Would
much
you?
rather stand, yes, I would much rather stand off stage, let someone else pretend they're singing. Oh God, yes.
Oh,
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
see, this is what happens when you say that. Then your screen goes blurry. No, all right. So you're back behind Andrew. What was it that even got you on stage there? What were you doing in Remedy to get you playing live music?
My husband ran into his buddy, the drummer, after 30 years at the grocery store. And he said, yeah, you should come and see our band. We're just starting out this new singer. And it wasn't Andrew. It was the one right before Andrew.
Yeah.
And I got in the room and I was just fascinated with just how that all works, and I love music. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it was, and, I'd sang a little bit, but it didn't even dawn on me to even think I could ever try that. And then I just kind of in conversation, I ended up being invited to do a little bit of backup vocals, and then Andrew started, and he and I just feel like he's my little brother. I just
Yeah.
adore him. He just is such a sweetheart.
He really is. Amazing dude. He's become a dear, dear friend for me
And
too.
he kind of took me under his performing wing, if you will, and just, he gave me encouragement. He, would pretend like he was fascinated with my singing and tell me did a great job and I want to hear her sing more. And I mean, he was really, really gracious about, my role in that band. And then it was just a lovely experience.
I would not have known that. I mean, that's because you really are commanding on stage, really in a fun way. But 7 years ago, you would not have thought of probably 7 years ago that you'd be dealing with 2 years of a pandemic where you're not performing live, right? And uh, but you said you're fascinated with how that all works. So what is it about the shows that you were seeing that you were fascinated by? Was it the interaction with the crowd, or was it the energy that you felt listening to live music, or what was it for you?
So for me, it's the live music thing, right? And my husband and I love to go out. That's our thing. That's our joy. We go out and we listen to live music, and most of the time it's in in the blues vein. You know,
Hmm.
we love blues music. We love the blues musicians around here. We love the blues venues around here. And so that's just where we end up. But I think one of the most incredibly fascinating things for me is to go to a jam and watch five guys who've never played anything together before in 3 minutes figure out what song they're going to sing, what key they're going to do it in, how the tempo, the all that, and then they
Yeah.
just sit there and do the song. And it's just the whole collaboration thing for me is so beautiful, and it's so perfect, and it's so lovely that it gets to happen and with this music thing that then people in the audience, you know, I mean, not everybody can play the guitar, not everybody
Right.
wants to sing, but they want to be a part of it. And I just, you know, what a cool way to envelop a room.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mentioned that the relationship and the interactivity that happens with jam events. I was not a big fan of jams
Most
in
of my friends aren't.
well, but the main reason why is that there were some greedy guys, right, that get up there, especially, I hate to say it, guitarists, but it's you. They just want to solo and solo and solo. And I'm just gonna say it, all right, musicians, if you're sitting at home and you're practicing so that you can get on stage and interact, or you're just practicing just to work on, fundamentals or something. But to me, a guitar solo is a little bit masturbatory, right? So when I see a guy going up and in front of everybody playing for like 10 minutes, actually, I will say I went to Slash last night at the Roseland, right? So Slash,
Oh, Rich did
he,
too.
he earned his name, right? From Guns N' Roses. And the dude is worthy of standing up and doing a 10 minutes guitar solo.
Right.
And I watched it. If I didn't know who Slash was, I'd think, oh, that was really self-indulgent, right? But the dude has earned it. Now, if I go to a jam and there are five guys up there, where five guys are all contributing their time and their energy and their talents, then I think each person deserves a fifth of that time, to do their thing or just be a supplemental player, right? As a drummer, I don't need to take a solo. I don't want to take a solo. I just want to make everything feel good and groove well. But if there's a singer there's no reason a guitar player should be playing more than the singer. I don't think, right? So it drives me crazy. And so jams oftentimes
Depends on the singer.
right, yeah, well then
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's that's my job to just like coax them off the stage. I can hit them with drumsticks and stuff, but the I don't want to hear somebody at a jam play for an hour. To me that's like you can do that at home and I would
I
not
have
pay
about
it.
a 4 minute attention span.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think everybody is really that way unless you're the person playing it, right? So
Yeah.
but so in that scene though, you and your husband would go out, you'd see a great blues musician. Who were you seeing at that point that really lit you up that said, okay, wow, I want to do that?
Oh boy. Um, you know, I discovered her for me at the state fair. Believe it or not, I went down. My son was in the FFA program and he was raising a pig, and so he was down there. So I went to visit him while he was taking care of his pig at the state fair. And I got there and I hear this giant voice coming from, like, I don't know how far away it was, but I looked at my son and he goes, "You're going to go check it out." I'm like, "I got it, babe." So I walked out and found Ray Gordon.
Oh, she's amazing. Oh my
Oh, I
God.
know.
Well, and so she was at she was at the Trail's End when I saw you last, actually. So yeah, I love her. Yeah.
She's
Man,
so incredible.
yeah,
She's
she is a gospel singer, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like, she's one of the most treasured secret, names. I mean, everybody in this area knows her for sure. And I know she's gone down to Nashville and competed, for her blues bands. She's
yeah,
awesome.
she goes to
And
the Blues Challenge in Memphis, and yeah,
yeah, that's what it was, right? In Memphis. That girl deserves to be on, any national stage touring with anybody. But
she's one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet in your whole life. She is all about service, and she lives her life in service of others. She
it's
truly does.
so I'm interested, yeah, because I've seen it, right? I mean, her community here in this area it's definitely like her lifeblood is to go out and provide for people that are in need. And so if service is something that's really important to you, I'm interested to know, aside from her voice, and obviously you've gotten to know her over the last couple of years, um, are you are you able to find time to be able to do those kinds of things? Because I know that you have a business that you work in,
Yeah,
and
I
you're
work.
a mom and a grandma and a wife, and so you've got all sorts of different hats that you wear. How can you be of service to your community?
So my youngest son just moved out 3 weeks ago. So
Congratulations! Is that the
my
last?
yes,
Oh well,
five,
cheers.
number five. Yes, it was. Oh, cheers. Yeah,
Is that them there in the cup?
yeah. I have.
Really? Well,
So my youngest are twins.
oh my goodness! Look at that. Let's make the rounds on the cup here. Introduce them.
Okay, that's Jordan,
All right.
his girlfriend Emma, and then that's Jacob with
Oh
his
wow, so
girlfriend Caitlin.
very nice.
24. They're both 24. Been with their girls, both of them, for like 6, 7 years. That's
Okay.
I mean, these are kids do it. They're doing it different these days.
Some do. Some do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Some stick
My,
around. Some.
my older three are my bonus children. I call it bonus children, my practice children. And so they taught me how to be a mom so that I could be a little bit better mom to my younger. So my husband had 3 children when I met him. They lived with us. We raised them together, and then he and I had twins together. And so my husband and I have been together for 32 years, and we've never
Wow.
lived alone ever. We've
Wow.
never had our house to ourselves. So I can't even tell you, like, we don't know what to do with ourselves. We love to have cereal for dinner.
Y-
It's just cool.
That. I mean,
Make it Thursdays.
I, I love it. The thing is the fact that you still go out. You go see live music, and a lot of people after 31 years of marriage trying to find some way to keep things fresh is that's a good challenge. So
My,
aside from live music, you cook together.
he likes to cook. I like to sit on the other end and drink wine.
Oh, nice. See, I like to eat. So
Yeah,
that's
me too. I like to eat too.
that's a um, I was gonna like put you on the spot and ask you like the tips to having a successful 30-year plus marriage. You have any advice for folks?
One, I think you just naturally have to have that spark. I mean, like I see his car coming up the driveway, and I still get excited to see
Oh
him.
my
It
god.
just they're so it's ridiculous. But you know, we've allowed each other to enjoy the things that we enjoy apart from one another.
Okay.
So he likes to fish and he likes to do outdoorsy things, and I'm just not into that. I don't mind sitting on my back deck when it's nice outside, but I don't want to have anything to do with mud and dirt. And that's just not my thing, but that's his thing. And so
Yeah.
when he wants to do it, he gets to do it anytime he wants to do it. When I want to
How,
do music, he just accommodates me and supports me and knows how happy it makes me. And
mm,
so that's, yeah.
yeah, that's it. All right. Those are fantastic. I mean, I was close. I had 28 years, and I'm dear friends with my ex-wife, and we met when we were 12, right? So we grew up together, and I didn't know how to be alone either. But I feel like for me, communication is the most important thing. I mean, the respect and the admiration, you mentioned that too. And I think communication also goes along with the support of each other, having independent interests. And because that respect, it doesn't breed resentment, right? If one person is doing something and the other person doesn't have an outlet, but it's great that you guys both have it. And, so as he saw that you developed an interest in music, were your kids musical at all?
No.
No.
I had one that was in choir, and he really enjoyed that. My daughter had a beautiful voice, but she really didn't pursue that. She was more athletic. All of my
Okay.
kids are all athletic. They're
Yeah.
just incredibly, like I said, they're leaders.
Yeah.
They drive me crazy.
They've got to be proud of mom though, right? Being up on stage and just
I have to tell you a story. So I'll tell you the story. So I was invited to sing with the band, the Lightning Kings. Do
oh
you
yeah,
Okay.
uh, another
So
Mike Branch former band, right?
11 piece. Well, Tom Anderson was the leader of that. Rich
Right.
Petco was actually the keyboard player in it. Rich Petco and I were destined to do music together because the universe kept pushing people in our lives that were pushing us together. And I'll go back to that in a minute. But
Okay.
my favorite thing to say, and just one of my favorite experiences, was being able to play on one of the big stages at the Blues Festival with the Lightning Kings. This big 11-piece band, and we had horns, and we had 3 girls on stage, and we got I love women. I love being
Me
in the
too.
presence of women. I know. I grew up being afraid of women, and so just getting in this music community, I'm telling you what, the women in this community are phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're supportive, and they're loving, and they're pistols, man. You don't mess with them.
Right.
And I love being in the presence of women, and I love being in the presence of strong women.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I got to be on stage, and so we get up there, and at the Blues Festival, there could have been 1 million people in that park. There wasn't, obviously, but there could have been. It could have been full. But seeing my kids' faces just with their arms in the air and
Yeah.
screaming for me and taking videos of me, that was the coolest thing I've ever had happen to me.
That for me, my parents having my parents see me that way was my thing. The same deal, right? Just you can't compare it to anything. The pride, right?
Yeah.
Well, you said there weren't 1 million people, but people outside this area would be blown away at how huge Blues Festival is here. It's the Waterfront Blues Festival in Portland is internationally known. It's massive, and go to YouTube and check it out. And some of the biggest artists on the planet, Robert Plant plays there, and they've had the biggest names in music. So,
and then they also accommodate all the local people too,
right.
which is so beautiful.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're not going to bring a local band up if they weren't worthy.
True.
Good on Tom Anderson for putting that gig together. And so they had you come up there and do that gig. Was that the biggest show to the date to that point that you had played on? Okay.
Totally.
So that lights a fire under you too, right? Because then you think, okay, I can never quit doing this because you always want to chase that rush, right? So,
it's so funny. I hear about that rush, and I certainly feel it when I go home and I lay down at night after a show. It's hard to settle down. I can't
yeah.
I can't settle my brain down, and I can't settle my heart down, and my body vibrates the adrenaline. I can feel the adrenaline in my joints and things like that. And it really illuminates how people who do this truly for a living can get into the drug rut.
Yeah.
To try to calm themselves down to go to sleep, because they know they have to get up in the morning and drive them, 500 miles to their next show, and they have to be there at, noon or whatever. It's just, I can see how it can happen. And, we were talking about that the other day. Aaron and I were talking about kind of that rush and what happens to people when they stop doing music, and there just isn't. People get that it's almost bipolar. You have those super, super high highs, and you super, super high lows or low lows.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be willing to manage it with a healthy means.
Yeah.
You have to kind of want to manage it. And some people don't want to manage it. I think they need the highs and they need those lows to kind of maintain their craft, if you will, and I just don't think we have to suffer to be creative.
There are certainly people that thrive on crisis in order to that mania and in order to feel productive. But the conversation you had with Aaron Bartley, amazing bass player. Cheers to Aaron. The conversations I had mid-pandemic, this whole show of mine was born out of the pandemic because we had time off, right? And I recognized over the time that we started doing these that musicians that were doing this for a living experienced this massive identity crisis because everything that they identified with, everything that really symbolized who they were, what they felt, what they represented, what their whole passion was all about, was stripped away and was stopped. And everybody in the planet was affected, of course, with COVID. We've all had our experiences with it. But I will be the first to admit it got me. It hit me because I realized the things that I need out of life, interacting with people on stage and off, and meeting new energy. I needed it. And uh, you mentioned bipolar. It helped me discover that I had some borderline personality issues actually, and so it was a good thing for me, a huge growing experience. As awful as it felt to have the pandemic take away gigs, it was important for me to discover that part about myself. And a lot of musicians that feel like their identity is only wrapped up in what they do on stage is it's unfortunate sometimes, right? Because
Right.
what you do should not really define who you are. I don't feel it. I mean, really, so that's just my own personal feeling about it. But I recognize that a lot of people were going through that same thing, especially in the entertainment industry, actors and musicians and people that were performing, that were dependent on an audience. So with you, you mentioned not knowing if you really experienced like the rush when you watch you do
Go for it.
the Gaga Bradley Cooper duet, right? When you guys are doing that and you get to that last chorus, right, where you jump way up and you're doing this a cappella part there for a second, uh, that that's the goosebump moment that a lot of people that don't understand what it's like to be on stage, but they feel it when you sing it, and and that's the drug that I keep chasing. That the belly rush that you get. So do you get that, especially on songs like that, where you're just putting everything out?
Well, yes, and sometimes I have to remind myself, when the lead up to that, I, you- I hear people talk about, oh, at some point you're just going to be able to sing these songs and you won't even have to think about it. I think about every single note, line, word, syllable. I think about every little thing up until that point. And so I'm usually like, oh, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes.
Yeah.
It's like, God, let me hit that note. And when you do hit it, yeah, I do get that rush. I do get that. But there's such a release. And men probably will never understand what I'm talking about, but it's like having a baby, man.
Oh,
By the time you get to that point, you're like, it's just a
yeah.
total relief, you
I, you
know?
know, men call it something else, but I talk about it on this show quite a bit. It's a real difficult thing to explain, though. Because there is a culmination that brings you up to that point. It's not like you have 8 on stage in the show, right? And so the big O really only happens oftentimes once, if ever, and so you strive for it. I can probably think of a good handful of times over the last 10 years where, I mean, when I say a good handful, like a handful of times
Yeah.
when, wow, it hit so much that I'll never be able to stop playing. I'll
Mhm.
never be able to stop chasing that thing. And even if I only had that happen to me once, that's the greatest gift, right? Because like I can't imagine trying to explain it to somebody. I try to do my older son is a musician, and my younger son's a great singer, but my older son got an opportunity to get up on some really big stages early on when he was younger, and I may have cursed him in a little bit of a way, because he expected that for every gig from that point forward. But but I think he feels it, and I'm sure
You
that you've
just
run you.
have those shows every once in a while, and at the end of the night, we're the my band brothers and I are just, oh my God, that was so much fun, and we just good night. It was such a lovely, and that you just have those nights. You just have some of those spectacular moments, you
Especially
know.
when everybody's vibing on, everybody on stage, if you're all feeling that, that's the
Mhm.
greatest feeling. The big O when you share it with 4 or 5 is amazing, right?
It
So
is.
the I the,
And then the
what
100 people that are out in front of you too,
right, and
and
it's
singing
and
with
they
you, and oh,
and they never
wow.
forget it. That's why I think people are so drawn to, when they see you guys playing that way. I mean, it's almost like you could close your eyes and have the energy of the feeling, of the crowd just dictate that feeling that you have in the room. But
Absolutely.
I see that we've got a comment here asking they want to know how Michelle feels differently when you're delivering a cover tune versus one of your own songs. And that's great to know because I know that you said you worked on this record during the pandemic. So when you're playing live,
Yeah.
do you notice a difference in audience response playing one of your tunes versus a cover tune?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
with cover tunes, people, because I
they know
think
them.
familiarity breeds love, right? Or breeds whatever. But
Yeah,
with originals, it's scary. I mean, you are pretty much just standing out there naked on stage, and at the end, you're like, "How do you like me now?" Because
yeah, right.
I just bared it to my and up until this point, and just if I could I don't normally toot, but I'm super, super excited about this that I'm learning how to write. I'm learning how to like contribute to the actual writing of these songs. And Rich Pedco has been so he's just my mentor. He's my sage, my wise old sage that just kind of travels with me and keeps me calm, and he teaches me what works and what doesn't, and he's just so lovely to be around. But he's teaching me how to write, and I've written a couple songs. And so this next CD that we're doing right now, we're kind of in the process of recording right now, and is going to have at least two of the songs that I've written.
Really? Okay.
And then Midnight and Moonshine, my duo that I do with just Rich, I've written a couple too. And I can't tell you how satisfying that is. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
So tell me about that process. Like when you and Rich would sit down, will he play like a chord structure and then say, "Hey, what are some lyrics you feel like goes over this?" Or how does that process work for you?
So I'm kind of the tortoise in the tortoise and the
Okay.
hare scenario. I'm slow. I'm methodical. I just kind of sit back and I eventually I'll get there. But Rich is so prolific. That guy's been writing music since he was, and I want to say 10, but I'm going to say 15 to be fair, because he'd roll his eyes right now if I
Right. Yeah.
gave an age. But the guy has notebooks full of music that he's written, and it's just there. And so he'll give me a piece of music that he wrote when he was I'm going to use my a song that I wrote for my mom after my mom passed away. It's called Let Me Stay. And he gave me a piece of music and he said, "Here, put some words to this." And I put some words to it, and he helped me kind of craft it and kind of arranged it, helped me arrange it. And we've left some space because we did that particular one in the duo. We've left some space for some other instruments to come in there at some time. But it's just such an amazing, fulfilling experience to be able to say, "Here I am." It's scary. Again, there's that
Yeah.
bipolar thing, right? It's, well, here I am, and then
Yeah.
it's, here I am. And do
Oh,
you it's
but
just,
I mean, can you imagine a life without it though? If you just had, even if you could find joy in your life, having that extra element of like vibration in your life is, it's exponentially more fulfilling, I would imagine. The fact
yeah,
that you could write songs about things close to your heart that way, the loss of your mom,
yeah,
and having enough respect and trust with Rich to help put that together where it was an honor to her and not necessarily like stepping on toes. That is a real gift. I will tell you, the reason Rich has a whole like suitcase full of lyrics is because he grew up in Anaconda, Montana, where
I
there's only one thing to do besides play music.
yeah,
Is get in trouble, right? So good on him for being contributing positive Montanan. I'm also from there.
I
I get it. I
know.
get it.
I love it.
But I caused a lot of trouble anyway. Um, but
He had his
I,
moment.
with the duo, when you and Rich would go out, so you're doing a mix of covers and originals then too, right?
Mhm.
And is it just Rich and the keyboard and you?
Yeah, Rich and the keyboard. And when we can get in a room with a baby grand, oh my God,
Wow.
that's just our favorite. We just, it just fills us up. It fills
Yeah.
up it just fills you up. Yeah. So there's a couple places where we get to play where there's, the grand piano or baby grand at Rivederci on
Oh
McLaughlin.
yeah.
It's one of my favorite places to play. And
That's a great spot.
it really is. I love the way that they've set the ambiance up in that restaurant, and it's just family style. And yeah,
That and so I'm thinking about that the difference between the duet and the live show, because when you guys are just doing a duet, I would imagine it's more of a lower key, lower energy kind of thing, where people that are watching, they're
Mhm.
there to listen to you, your every word, every note that's played, or you're accompanying their meal, right?
Right.
Um, when somebody comes and sees like Night Rose, they're there to dance and party, and they might go off and have a conversation in the back of the room, unless you're just blowing them away. So how's the energy for you different between those two kinds of environments?
I love each one
Okay.
for its own merits. The night rose stuff, that's when I really get to put on my strong woman persona. I mean, being able to sing songs that were, Martina McBride songs and Bonnie Raitt songs and shoot, with Grace Potter is one of my
Oh
favorites.
yes, I'm trying to get her on my show. Grace Potter,
Oh
the
no.
Nocturnals, man. Yeah, huge fan. Love
I
her.
she is the queen. I love her lyrics. Her and so strong women, just belting it out. Those are my favorite. And Mike loves to tease me when we're playing those songs. He goes, do you realize you stand on your tippy toes when you're I'm like, yeah, because I'm big when I'm singing those songs, man.
Wow.
I'm like 10 feet tall.
I love that. That is
Yeah,
so yeah, like, um, it's funny that if people really didn't know you and they came to watch you play and then got to know Michelle on the side, they'd be surprised to know that you're shy, that you're, kind of,
terrifying.
it's
Terrifying.
it's amazing because you certainly don't come off that way on stage at all. But you've obviously done a good amount of singing in front of the mirror to get comfortable with it, right? So, and
Really.
you have a lot of supportive fans.
I try not to see myself too much.
You've got a lot of supportive fans. I know that
I
at those
do.
shows, people are there. They're not there just because they're your friend. They know they love your songs, they love your voice. And can you imagine touring? Would you picture Night Rose going off and doing like a 10-date tour through the Northwest or anything?
I think that would be incredibly fun. I might be too old. I can't even, I'm just old and I'm tired. So, but here's the luxury of getting into music at this stage in the game is I don't have to eat top ramen every day. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
have to put some savings in the bank so that, I can have a burger if I want, and I can stay in I mean, I'm not going to stay at the, I don't know.
Four Seasons. Yeah,
There you go. That's a
yeah.
good. I'm like Hilton. I don't know. Anyway, but I could stay at a reasonable. I could be comfortable and do it. Aaron
Okay. Well,
Bartley, if he did it, he's got his freaking amazing RV, and he'd haul that everywhere. And again, I'm doing this with people who are probably in a position to be in that same boat with me, so we
yeah.
wouldn't have to. So yeah, I guess I could.
Sure. Well, what if Grace Potter came along and she said, "You know what? I love your voice. I want Night Rose to be the opening act on our tour. We've got 10 dates throughout the Northwest. That seems like a good pairing. I could see you guys out doing it, and you don't have to stay at the Motel 6. You don't have to eat top ramen. You guys can
We'd
get
do it
your
in a
own
heartbeat.
rooms."
We'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Always.
Who else, like, I mean, you mentioned those artists. I was thinking about strong women. I'm a huge Pink fan. A dear friend has been playing drums for her for a long time. And every time I go to a show, I watch her bravado. And
Mhm.
I remember having conversations with people about her and her performance. Some were making comments that it was gimmick. And it blew me away. They're like, yeah, but she's not really a musician. I'm not going to name names, but there's somebody very close to me in music. And I said, "Wait a minute. What do you mean she's not a musician?" They said, "Well, she's like a circus performer." And I said, "While she's singing, she could sing, be upside down, spinning all over the stadium and sing on key." And they're like, "Yeah, but backing tracks." And I'm like, in that band, the drummer, Mark Schulman, I asked him, I said, "How much of this stuff is on a backing track?" And he said, "Not one thing." He said, "We have everything to a click track because everything you see behind us, all the visual stuff is all queued up in sequence. So we have to play to a click track. But when you see Pink spinning out there upside down on circus trapeze stuff, she's doing it singing live." And he said, if you heard the board mixes, you'd hear her breathing hard, but that's it. He said she's the hardest working person in the business. And I would imagine, life kicking her butt. helped kind of get her to that point where she was that strong a woman. But is that kind of character, is she one that, would influence you in a way that,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. I love, the whole unapologetic. I love that, right? Be just you don't have to be, and I don't know. I'm a soft soul. I'm sensitive. So I want people to like me. I want
yeah,
people to be, careful around my heart and my feelings and things like that. I would love to have just a little bit of that. I could care less.
right,
I
zero
could
F's,
care less what you think about me. And
right,
I have to say that music has given me, and Andrew was a big proponent of me just letting go of needing people to like me. He's like, no, you're never going to get everybody to like you. So just, focus on what you do, focus on what you do it well, practice, get better, keep working on it. And eventually you're going to have the right people like you. And
Andrew Green, my goodness, the sensei. I'm gonna have to call him up and ask it. It's,
I'm
yeah,
going to embellish that a little bit, but but the things that he said kind of have crafted that for me.
sure.
And so, but that was certainly born of some advice that he gave me
I
back in the day.
I love it.
And I have to say, here's the other thing: the gentlemen that I play with are some of the most just, oh God, they're comforting. They're my comforters.
Yeah,
They get on stage with me and they know how uncomfortable I am, and they know how awful it is for me when I screw up, and I screw up quite a bit. But they'll look over at me and they'll give me the nod because they know I'm freaking out about it. They'll just, somebody will just give me the nod and we'll all laugh about it. And I don't ever get any dirty looks. And I don't get anybody that, is giving me the stink eye, because that breaks my heart, and
sure.
it ruins me for the next like three songs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's tough to let go when you get like,
These guys never do that to me,
oh,
and they are always there for me, and they are always just they're such good professionals that they cover me. They cover up so much for me. And so for them, and just I'm so lucky that I have found these beautiful people to, you know, just be there in support of what I want to do. And we're all doing it together. I think we're all enjoying it. Let's face it, this is not the kind of music that three of those guys are used to playing. I mean,
right, right,
Kendall's a metal guy, man, and
right. Yep.
Mike is just like this crazy classic rock, power chord mohawk wearing
Right.
crazy guy, super big personality. And he and then Aaron, I mean, Aaron is the 80s hairband guy.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
almost signed, I think, in the 90s. Like, they were
Yeah.
this close to being signed, and then it just kind of, the whole grunge thing happened and crushed that dream. But
Maybe that's why. Not only because you're so, sweet and kind, but they know the other sides of the industry, right? They know how difficult and challenging and icky it can be. They know where your spirit and your soul lie, where those lie. And you know, let's be honest. I mean, I'm sure every one of those guys has been in a band where some personality almost ruined it for him. It happens to all of us, right? It just, whether it's somebody in the band or just part of the business, the people that you have to deal with, promoters or, booking agents or, some patron that is just difficult. And, so you said lucky, and I say this a lot on my show. One thing I've really discovered the last couple of years is that I don't know that luck is really the word that I would use. I think fortunate is a word that I try to use more. If you think about the position you're in, you said you're really lucky that they found you, but you wouldn't be in the position you're in by luck. I think it so happens that you, because of who you are, you put yourself in a place where they gravitated towards someone that they wanted to work with like that. And they appreciate it and know what they've got. The blessing of having your persona is a gift. And if you think about the people you want to hang out with in a band, you know, there
Mhm.
are plenty of talented people that just are really difficult and challenging. And they figured that out long ago, that what they want is someone that has the whole package. And I don't know who wrote the bio for you, but it talks about Michelle Lynn is not just a pretty face.
Yeah.
She really is. She's this gift of a wonderful singer, wonderful human being. Your spirit is solid, and people that are here in the chat. But I see Mike is making a comment. Don't get me started. How methodical she is with a grimace face. I'm glad Mike is here watching this. This is good, Mike. We haven't
Oh,
said anything negative about you yet. No,
he
we're not going to either. You know
I
what I
don't
want?
yeah.
I want to ask you, because all
Mhm.
right, so we talked about the musical side of Michelle, and a lot of people that come and see you play, they see a lot of artists like Ray Gordon or Mike Branch or any of these other musicians. The personality that they see on stage might be completely different than what's off. In your case, sounds like it is, right? That you mentioned your husband will be at in the kitchen making dinner. You're at the end of the bar drinking a glass of wine, and um, so the soft side of Michelle Lynn, the maternal side, the domesticated homebody side. What's a perfect date night for you and your husband?
I love to start out at home with just he likes to sip on a little bit of whiskey, and I'll have a glass of wine. But for us, we have to see the music. We
Mm.
have to be in the vibe of the and get into that vibration. When we go on vacation, we seek out live music.
Yeah, really.
Absolutely,
What
absolutely.
What's the last vacation you guys took?
Oh God, all our vacation time has been spent with our daughter
Yeah,
and getting down to kind of help take care of her babies and stuff while she does her treatments and things like that. So,
in Arizona.
well, she lives in Utah, so most of the time
Yeah,
when I go to Utah so that her husband, so she went to Mexico for one treatment,
right.
and so her husband and her went down. So I went to Utah, and then they went to Mexico, and um, most of the time I just go to Utah right now. It's been,
Okay,
and when COVID hit, shoot, there's no point going anywhere anyway.
right.
I'm not spending my money on traveling
Y-
someplace to not
Sure.
be able to. Anyway, so
Are you in Salt Lake area? Is that where you go?
yeah, she's kind of Draper, just a little bit south of.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
was looking at Draper for some property. Okay, so I'm gonna make a suggestion for you when you go
okay,
down there.
yeah, yeah.
And folks that watch this show, you guys already know what I'm gonna say. One of my favorite voices on the planet, one of my dearest of friends, Josh Thompson, is there in
Okay.
Salt Lake. He's the drummer for Wang Chung, but they got him out from behind the drum kit a few years ago when we toured because they realized what a gift this guy has. So he has a brand new album. I just ordered 2 copies of it. JoshThompsonMusic.com. You guys can go check it out. He's been doing shows, little pickup or pop-up shows in Salt Lake while they prepare to go back on tour with this summer with Wang Chung. This guy will blow you away. And the music that you sing and you like is so much like his. I think it's the right kind of musical medicine that would be great
Nice.
for you. So
Awesome.
Josh Thompson, Josh
Thank you.
Thompson Music, yeah, go check him out, man. And
I
do you ever watch the TV show Modern Family?
Oh my god, it's one of my favorites.
It's a great one, right? So
Favorites. Yes.
the father character, and I can't remember his name, but the dark haired, like real
Sure.
estate guy,
Oh yeah, yeah.
he's got a club there and like a little bar and restaurant, and so his is the one that Josh plays in most often, and I guess he's in there all the time. So little nugget of trivia.
That's
So
awesome.
we know about vacation time. If once your daughter, she's going to be in remission, man. We're going to beat this thing, and grandbabies are going to be well cared for.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some time where Michelle and her husband just get to breathe. Uh, Money, time, destination is no object. Where's the bucket list spot that you guys go?
So, well, we're leaving tomorrow. We're going to go visit his brother in Northern California, but he has a houseboat on Lake Orville. So we're
Oh,
going to go sit on the back of the houseboat for a couple days anyway, and maybe go do a little bit of wine tasting down there. So that's where we're going to go.
is that
My,
bucket list?
no, not
Okay,
really. But
yeah,
that's the thing is I go see people. At this point in time, we're not really seeing places. We're kind of seeing people we miss and people
yeah.
we love. I don't know if you know, but my husband is also dealing with some cancer himself,
I
and
did not know.
so we're just at the tail end of his treatment right now. He's kind of going through some immunotherapy, but it's pretty hard on him. So it might be a couple years before we venture too far from home.
And you'll be deserving of it for sure. Yeah, my pop is just finishing his immunotherapy in Montana as well, and it's a challenge. I hate seeing what it does to people. You know, I think you've had too many curveballs thrown at you. I think you deserve a break. You
Here's
know?
the thing. Here's the thing. I think of if everything were boiled down to the 100 things in my life that were going on, 98 of them are good. And I'm so
Hmm.
grateful for so many of the things that are going right. And
Yeah,
I truly, truly wish to focus on those things because that's just kind of what
sure.
keeps my head above water. I used to tell people, I feel like I'm losing the air in my floaties. I just like I'm right here with the water.
But
Um,
but
but
gratitude is truly
the air in my floaties,
it's miraculous what that can do. Do you have sort of a ritual to sort of practice gratitude?
man. I like to. I call it praying because
Mhm.
it's very much in the format of a prayer. But I tend to. Uh, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. I don't know if that
Mhm.
makes sense
It
to me. I
sure
don't go
does.
to church, but I
Yep.
definitely believe in the energy and that there's power in the universe and making sure that we manifest what we want. And so I put energy up into the universe of what I need and what I'm looking for and ask for what I want. And most of the time I'm asking for peace. I'm
Yeah.
asking just peace about what is.
Mhm.
I'm asking for answers. What am I supposed to learn from this? Because I do believe that we're here to learn.
Yeah.
We're here to learn. We're here to figure out what it is that we're supposed to be here for. uh,
Yeah. You know, um, I resonate with so much of that. You know, it's really important. I feel like the idea of you mentioned spiritual versus not religious. I completely understand. You know, being talk about that there's some sort of other being, this higher sort of power, right? And I talked about the energy that Stevie Wonder had walking by. That kind of energy. You can't. It's not tangible. You can't touch it. You can't describe what it is. But
but
the
it's
feeling,
undeniable.
it is undeniable, and the feeling you get on stage, right? When you have the interaction from a band and from the audience, you could not write it down in words. As articulate as somebody might be, and and verbose and with a thesaurus, you're not going to find the right words that are going to really peg it. So it's undeniable and it's unexplainable. But the fact that you recognize it means that you can do something with it. And I love the idea that you focus on those things and focus on the gratitude. I'm sure that's why a lot of people are drawn, to you and your energy. And I think it's, probably what has kept your whole family, in this kind of unit. I love that. But, I ask selfishly because a lot of people they would wish for something like that and wouldn't know where to start. But the idea of starting with gratitude and being able to sort of, you mentioned service earlier, doing for others is a really great way to provide, I think, that too. But I
And sometimes you have to fake the gratitude a little bit. I have to fake
sure,
it sometimes. Sometimes I have to pretend like I'm thankful for all the crap,
sure, well,
you
trick your
know,
mind into it.
I
Fake it
do.
till you make it, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, we all have those times, right? Where just blow after blow after blow keeps hitting you, and you're thinking, "All right, really? Like, like what else is?" And don't wish for to know what else could happen, but being able to center yourself. It sounds like you and your husband are really good about being able to be a balance for each other too, which is key.
oh, absolutely.
Uh, Faith it till you make it. I like that,
I love
man.
Stacey. Hi, Stacey, beautiful girl.
That is so good, man. I
Stacey.
like that. All right. One question I ask everybody, and this is a really fun way to end the show, and I didn't set you up with it, so
Oh,
uh, and so you can ponder it for a sec.
okay.
People that feel like they know you, right? Whether it's people that come out to the shows, or you've got a circle of wonderful people that love you, but what might they be surprised to find out about Michelle? Do you have a guilty pleasure that you can divulge here?
Oh boy.
And
Um,
I can give you some examples because I know, I mean, some of it's, some people say music, you know, that they might be like, I had the bass player from Megadeth on my show, and he said he secretly had this love of disco, right?
I
And
love that.
and some people, it's just like they're super healthy eaters, but you know, they've got to have a Kit Kat, you know, before you know they can actually feel, yeah, dirty, whatever. So how about Michelle's? Do you have any that? All right, you can.
Here's my thing. Here's thing that I think I enjoy that I probably feel a little bit guilty about enjoying so much. I love being alone in my house.
Yeah.
I love being alone. I love just, and that probably comes from being, with family in our house for 32 years. But even
Sure.
when my husband goes fishing, that's my, a little bit of my favorite time. And maybe that's why it's the guilty part, because I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't enjoy it as much as I do. And I don't get me wrong, I love being with my family, but that point in time where I have the whole house for myself, I can sing as loud as I want, or I
Mm.
can, I don't know, go out on the deck and I don't have to worry. It's just, yeah, I can leave dishes in the sink if I want
Yeah.
to.
Oh
I love
yeah.
being alone in my house.
When you're singing, do you put music on to sing along to, or are you just singing a cappella?
Both,
So that was the
both.
wrong answer because now you know I was going to say, "Oh, you can sing a cappella." Well, Michelle, why don't we end this show with you singing a little? I, I was going to put you on the spot. If
No,
yeah, do you have a go-to song? If you have somebody says, "Hey, get up here and sing a song with us," do you have a go-to that you would sing every time on stage?
Angel from Montgomery.
Oh yes, Bonnie Raitt, baby. Hell
Bonnie,
yes.
Bonnie or
Yeah.
Susan Tedeschi or who,
Oh,
a
yeah.
million people have sung that song. Ray Gordon. You should hear
Oh,
Ray Gordon
I
sing that
have.
song.
You know,
She's
actually,
beautiful.
it probably wasn't written by Bonnie Raitt originally, was it?
No,
I've always heard, yeah, sorry,
no,
that's my ignorance.
no, oh God. Are you kidding me?
That's okay.
Not
I threw.
Bonnie. It's son of a God
Oh,
damn it.
yeah, he just passed away with COVID. He was one of the first, like, uh,
Yeah, but it wasn't him. It was John Prine.
okay,
John Prine.
John Prine. Yeah, yeah. Who did pass? It was one of the first big artists passed from COVID. All right, sorry, John. Rest in peace. Sorry for jacking your song for Bonnie
Angels,
Raitt. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's a beautiful one. And I could totally see that being a good go-to for you. So,
My other
guys, if you're
favorite song to sing is a Bonnie Raitt song, but it was written by Randy Newman, and that's Guilty.
oh yeah, and you guys cover that, don't you? Yeah, yeah,
I finally found
yeah,
someone who will play it for me.
nice. Oh, that's
Yeah.
man. I well, if you guys are watching this, you can imagine in your mind, just picture Michelle Lynn singing "Angel from Montgomery," and um, man, when are you guys playing again? Do you have any shows booked on the calendar right now?
We have a Billy Blues. We have a Billy Blues coming up. I can't believe I don't know it right off the top of my head.
I'll
I don't
bet
have
you Mike Branch knows it, and he can throw
Mike
it in the
Branch
chat here.
totally should know it, and he
He-
better be still watching. He's probably
yeah.
gonna have a cigarette.
um, so if you guys are in the area, Billy Blues is up. It's in well, North Vancouver, and so what's the date on that one? Or you don't you approximately, is it in March?
I believe it's in March. I think it's early
Okay,
March.
we
Yeah.
could find it if we go to like
Yes.
nightrosemusic.com.
NightroseNorthwest.com or something like that.
Okay, here let's Mike
Terrible
Branch.
promoter. This
Mike
is why
Branch.
I have Mike.
That's well, you know what we'll do is I'm going to have this show archived, and so what you guys can do is in the archives you'll have a little bit of information about Michelle, and you can go to the overview. I'll have the dates for the show and a link to their website. So in a few minutes, you can go to accesskevin.com and you can find this whole conversation. If you came in late, you can go to the beginning and you can find out about Michelle's origin and how the government's kind of been watching her during our conversation and blurring her out. And I, I I just got to tell you, hun, I'm really grateful to get to know a deeper side to Michelle Lynn than I might have seen just on stage. You know, I knew there was fun, vibrant magic behind it, and I appreciate you sharing it with me and everybody else here.
You made this very easy. I was terrified. I've been awake. You can see the bags under my eyes. I've been
What?
awake for 2 days fretting over this.
Oh
Yes.
man, well, you're a natural,
Oh,
and
thank you.
um, oh, Renee Rummins, hello. Yeah, you know, she's as much as I want her to sing on the way out. So Renee Rummins just says, and I'll put this up on the screen. She said she came in late and then out and then in. Is she going to sing a little on the way out? Here's what you guys can do because I'm not going to put her on the spot. I will. have this this archived at accesskevin.com. I'm going to put a couple of videos of you up there. There's a video of or an audio version of you guys doing Independence Day, which is freaking amazing, that I found out there. And then I'm going to locate a clip of you doing Angel of Montgomery, since that is
I
your
think
Angel
we
from
did that.
Montgomery.
We did that when we did the Martina McBride song with the Northwest Talent Spotlight. When Bobby Pilata started that whole thing,
Yeah.
COVID, we got to do one of those shows, and he came to the Gemini instead. So we were one of the few bands that they actually traveled to.
Oh yeah.
Bless their hearts for bringing all that equipment out, but they got so much good audio out of that show. It was so much fun. But yeah, I'm sure that's where that clip came from. So you can
Okay.
thank Bobby for the audio, and Austin Klein for the sound.
They're both fantastic, man. Bobby. I went up and did some stuff with Bobby Pilata and Mike Skill and his band, and did some performance. And Bobby's been on the show, and we talked about his whole gangster family background. That was a lot of fun. So um, Renee. She's not going to sing for us live, but you can go to the page that I will put in the archives at accesskevin.com. We'll see some videos of Michelle singing and performing. I really want to not only thank you for this and for
I thank you.
your husband for sharing the time with us right now. I will definitely say a prayer of healing for him and your daughter. And I'm so grateful to have some energy with you in my life. I can't wait to see you play live. So guys, get out there, go see Night Rose and Michelle Lynn play at Billy
Midnight
Blues
Moonshine.
and Midnight Moonshine. Oh yeah, with Rich Petco,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
So
Rich Petco.
both of those are my heart.
You know what I may have to do is just we'll take our All Access Live on the road, and might have to do a little live performance or live capture, and I can heckle from from the one of the booths, and because I need to have some Rich Petco in my life too. Love that guy,
Who
right?
doesn't?
So
Who
yeah,
doesn't?
he's a champ. I'm gonna have to get him on the show as well. But tell the whole band I said hello. Tell them I love them, and I can't wait to
Let's
tell
have
Andrew
the whole
Green.
band on the show. That would be super fun.
I think we should have a whole Night Rose episode, right? Right,
I
and then
do
like
too.
who? Okay, I can already tell you guys and tell you. I was going to ask you who's like the class clown of the band. Who's the one that's going to
Oh,
be a good?
Aaron.
Oh, like what about Branch? That guy is
Not
insane.
even close to Aaron.
The-
Not even close to Aaron.
oh
Brent
man,
actually, he works really hard, and not that Aaron doesn't, because Aaron is our
sure,
work bee, man. I mean, he when you walk into the room, he's built a beautiful studio for us. And when
yeah,
you walk into the room, it's dialed, it's ready to go. All you have to do is put your tablet on your thing, and we're ready to go. But he's the worker bee, but
wow,
he is the class clown.
love
And
it.
again, with David Kendall and him and Mike Branch in the room, I seriously pee my pants half the time. They're
It's a,
yummy.
yeah, that is a great bunch of really wonderful
And
characters.
their
They're
spouses, our band, when we talk about our band family,
yeah,
there is nothing like having the camaraderie of the bands of the stage, the
yeah,
people that are on stage, but knowing that people that support them the most are there with you and support you. And I mean, we do date nights together, we do vacations together.
really.
Oh God, yes, we love each other. We do Sunday
I
dinners together. Yeah, we love each
bands bands take note from this, right? You'll go out there, see Night Rose, see what they're doing, and then just try to match it. You got to find the right people. But I think so much of that has to do with respect and reverence for each other. It's just patience and
we found the right people.
yeah, you did. I'm glad you did, and I'm really glad that you were here, um, guys. I'm really, really grateful to have Michelle Lynn here. We've got fun stuff again this week. Just added today, Alicia G. Alicia is this artist in Buffalo, New York. She was on Dance Moms TV show, I believe, and she's got a new single out called "The Daisy Duke Two Step." She's a hip hop artist, but she's delved into the country world, and so well produced, big single. And so she'll be here Friday, 5 o'clock. Next week, I've got Mike Skill from the Romantics. We've got that wonderful show, and Mike Klaus, one of the greatest supporters of the local community. So some local, some national, and then I'll be doing international stuff because we'll be out on the road in Europe, and so I'll be doing some of this show from Spain and England and the Bahamas. So stay here. Go back to accesskevin.com, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to put it again right here, youtube.com/allaccesslive with Kevin Rankin. Subscribe, hit the bell, and then like this video so that Michelle can know how much love she felt from you guys, the way she gives it back. All right, Michelle Lynn, thank you so much. Have a beautiful dinner with your husband. And I can't wait to see you guys again. So, folks, go to accesskevin.com and I'll have the link to her shows and you can come see her at Billy Blues. All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Michelle.